Hey everyone, this is Tekos. After having brought you my most favorite games of all time a few weeks ago, today I'm showing you my most favorite solo games of all time. And let me say that a lot has changed compared to last year. I've played so many new to me and amazing games. That doesn't mean that the games I showed off last year aren't good anymore. On the contrary, they are still amazing. But over time, preferences and opinions definitely change. A few disclaimers before we get into the list. This is all just my opinion. Yours may very well differ. And if it does, please let me know in the comments which solo games you enjoy the most. Also, I'm only talking about games I've actually played. Everything else wouldn't make any sense. And of course, I have not played all games in existence. I will not only be talking about pure solo games, but I will also be including multiplayer games with a solo component. So in essence, I'm talking about solo experiences rather than solo games. Last but not least, in my last top 20 video, some people have been unhappy with my choices of the best board games. Please keep in mind that I haven't played all important games that exist. Also, we have all our own preferences. Alright, enough talk, let's get started. Well, almost. Let me first show you a few honorable mentions that are great games but didn't quite make the list. If you have known my channel for a bit, you probably know the Compact Wallet games by Button Shy Games. And while there are many good games among those, there are a few games that are especially good as solo games. Notable mentions here are the hand management game Ragemore, the push your luck game Death Valley, the pattern building game Skulls of Sedlec, and the puzzle game Rove. All these games are great and I play them often, but they came just very short of making this list. I also want to mention Arion, Castellion, Nautilion, Sylvion, and Stellarion, which are games that are part of the Oniverse series. I have played most of them, but not often enough to rank them accordingly. Another game I love playing, not only multiplayer but also solo, is Wild Space, which didn't quite make the list either. Coffee Roaster also nearly made the list because it's a great solo game, but I haven't played it enough yet to really rank it higher. And I also want to mention Handy Brawl. This was a game I covered for the In-Hand Game Design Contest 2022 on Board Game Geek. This is a great little game I play quite often, but I didn't include it in this list since it never got a retail or crowdfunding release. But it looks like it will get one in the future, and then it might make this list. By the way, you can download the game for free and play it yourself. I highly recommend it. There are also Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion as well as Flamecraft that I haven't played often enough to rank them yet. Jaws of the Lion, to be honest, I have yet to play at all. Also, I've gotten so many games at Spiel und Essen this year. Also, Marvel Champions is on the way. I'm sure some of them will make my list next year. I might have to do a top 40 or 50 next time. Well, let's see about that. Alright, enough about that. Let's get into the actual list now. Rank 20 is Role Player. This game was also part of my top board games list a few weeks ago. There I said that the game is incredibly thematic. I just love creating that Dungeons & Dragons character sheet including class, alignment and backstory. This dice drafting game is very fun, especially with the first expansion Monsters and Minions, where you then fight monsters with the character you've built. The second expansion even expands on that further by adding familiars. Such a unique game I thoroughly enjoy. Rank 19 will most likely be highly controversial. It's Under Falling Skies. This game made my number 1 spot last year, but not this time. Now, this might seem like a drastic fall, but please keep in mind that I am playing so many solo board games that the top 20 is very tight and prone to change a lot, much more than my regular board games list. This is still an amazing game where you essentially play Space Invaders as a board game, but it is a highly tactical game where every move counts. This game also provides a campaign that keeps the game fresh by changing the rules. A really great solo only game I can fully, 100% recommend. Next up is Onirim. I absolutely love this game. I must admit that I haven't played all expansions yet, but I have played the game pretty often. I actually enjoy the physical game more than the digital version, but I am the haptic type anyway. This game not only has great artwork, but the gameplay really shines here. You only go through the deck once and have to find all keys for the doors in order to win. At the same time, you'll have to face nightmares that constantly make you discard cards. It's a really great race to find all keys and really satisfying to win. An easy recommendation. I'm looking forward to play all the missing expansions soon. Cartographers must be my favorite roll or flip and write ever. It's simple to learn and drawing those little regions on your map is incredibly satisfying, especially when you're using colored pencils. It just looks really pretty. Having these variable goals makes each game different and the player interaction is great. But this is a solo list, so that one doesn't count. There are quite a few really good roll or flip and write games, but if I had to keep only one, it would definitely be Cartographers. Parks is a game I not only keep mentioning all the time, but have also included in my list of my most favorite board games ever. It is simply amazing. It clearly is one of the most beautiful games I know. The artwork is stellar, the components are amazing, and the insert is genius. Also, the theme is amazing as you are walking on a trek visiting as many national parks as possible. But the gameplay is equally great. It is a simple puzzle with slight worker placement mechanisms while you're trying to gain all necessary resources to visit the parks you want to collect. And the solo mode against the AI is very solid. Such a great game. Rank 15 is Cascadia. I also put it in my list of my favorite board games. On the solo list it ranks even higher than Parks. This tile laying game with really great simplicity but a nice depth was referred by me as a game that should be part of every single board game collection. And that also holds true for solo gaming since the multiplayer game is already quite solitary at heart. Of course, that doesn't mean that you have to play the game and that you have to like it. But I would highly recommend you at least try it. The solo mode works wonderfully and the achievements just add to the replay value. Number 14 on my list is Bullet. I included the game as an honorable mention on my best board games list because I haven't played it enough multiplayer and I currently prefer it as a solo game. Well, it did make my list and at a pretty good rank if I do say so myself. I really enjoy the puzzly nature of this game. It is so rewarding when you are able to persevere by combining your abilities and patterns cleverly. Also, it has so much variety. I love this game. It's surely possible it will climb this list over time. Then again, I will play many more solo games, so who knows what will happen. Rank 13 is Terraforming Mars. I haven't played this game all too often yet, but I played it often enough to warrant it a place on this list. It's a game that is pretty hard to get into, but once you wrap your head around it, it presents a really intriguing engine builder. I still feel I have so much to see and learn in this game, and that is a huge positive for any board game. It's hard to get to the table for a multiplayer session, which is why I'm happy it has a solo mode that is quite solid. The next game in this list is One Deck Dungeon. If you have known my channel for a while, you know how much I love this game. It is a great solo dungeon crawler experience in a small box that is easy to get into, but fun every time you play it. If you play the campaign, which I would suggest you always do, you even have some kind of progression since you work on gaining new abilities after each dungeon delve. And if you own both versions of the game, you can even combine them. In my opinion, a must play for each solo gamer. Rank 11 is my most favorite board game of all time. It's Wingspan. This game is not only very dear to my heart, but also offers a very good solo mode. Then why is it not in my top 10? Well, the game is amazing and I could record videos upon videos detailing why that's the case. And even mind that the game is quite luck driven, meaning that you never know which cards come out. Some are harder to work with than others. In a multiplayer game that's less of an issue, but in a solo game it can be. The AI always scores well no matter whether you're lucky with the cards or not, and that can be quite frustrating. But it still is a really good game to play solo. Instead of buying the physical game, you can also buy the digital version and play it solo there. Unfortunately, not all expansions are available digitally yet, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Everdell is a game I thoroughly enjoy as well. It also made my other list. Apart from it being a very beautiful game, it also is a very good hybrid of engine builder and worker placement game. It's a game that I often try to show to people, although it already is a bit too complex for most of them. That's why it's great that it has a really solid solo mode. It even has 3 difficulties that all play similarly, but do definitely challenge you more and more. It's definitely a game everyone should have played at least once at some point. Rank 9 is The Castles of Burgundy, a game I also love to an extraordinary extent. As of working on this video, I just finished my 56th play within about 6 months. Yeah, it's that great. It needs a bit of time to wrap your head around it, but it's actually quite intuitive once you understand its mechanisms. I held off on playing this game for a while, but now I understand why it is ranked that highly on BoardGameGeek. And the solo mode is solid as well. I just like it more as a multiplayer game, which is why it is only rank 9 as opposed to its rank 3 in my general list of my most favorite board games. It's still very good as a solo game. The following games are just stronger. The Artemis Project generally is a great game. Next year the expansion will be released and I'm really looking forward to playing that. It is a dice placement game with engine building elements that has a high player interaction. When you place dice in a clever way, you may be able to push your opponent's dice to the right so that they gain less rewards or even none at all. And the solo mode really captures that feel with the drones that are the AI enemies. They are slightly more predictable than human opponents, which makes them perfect for solo play. Rank 7 is one of my most favorite games ever. It's Spirit Island. This game is very well known, highly ranked on BoardGameGeek and a favorite among many solo gamers. Last year I ranked it much lower, but I have played it more and more in the meantime, and this game deserves all the praise it gets. This is a game with area control elements where invaders are disturbing the peace on an island. But the player is not invading the island. You take control of spirits defending it. Besides this amazing concept, the asymmetrical spirits with their own playstyles make this a tough but really fun and rewarding game. Unfortunately, the symmetry is lost when playing true solo, but you can also play with more than one spirit. Both playstyles are fun and make this one of the best solo games of all time. Next up is the miniature game Cthulhu Death May Die. I'm not that much into miniatures, to be honest, but this game is amazing. You play investigators attempting to disrupt rituals to summon the old ones such as Cthulhu and Hastur. While doing so, you fight cultists and strange creatures. But you also become more mad doing so, which is one of the main mechanisms of the game. Every time you cross a certain madness threshold, you can level up your skills, but also your personal mental issue is triggered. And when you become too mad, then you die. This is a really challenging but fun game. Unfortunately, you need to play two characters when playing solo since there is no true solo mode, but it's still an amazing game. The next game is Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. Oh, how I love this game. Those of you who have known me for a while probably heard this several times already. This game is incredibly thematic and it really immerses you in its theme. Every time I play this game, it doesn't take long until I'm at the edge of my seat while trying to keep the zombies away from the city center until the entire event deck has been resolved. While that is very difficult, it is also really rewarding when you actually make it. This game can be played multiplayer, but it really shines as a solo game, my preferred mode of play. This game does take a few hours to play and is really complex, especially at the higher levels, but it's totally worth it. 100%. Rank 4 is the drafting game It's a Wonderful World. This is a game that is great in general, but especially shines as a solo game in my opinion. Of course, then the drafting mechanism is pretty much lost, but the game then becomes a really satisfying puzzle. And it's a really good one. The game is quite quick to set up and doesn't take long to play. And for playing solo, there even is a small campaign that greatly increases replay value. But the replay value is high anyway, since the cards come out different each time and your playstyle changes anyway when picking another civilization. One of my most favorite solo games ever. Alright, we are now entering the top 3. The first game is Lands of Galza. I have said several times how much I love this game, but I'll gladly say it again. I really love this game. This game has totally captivated me and has become my most favorite story-based board game of all time as of now. The theme, artwork and components are simply gorgeous. I've played the game numerous times now and I have to say that all the quests and side stories are truly wonderful. They are incredibly detailed and interesting to experience. This game has so much charm and personality, you can see how much love and thought went into this. And just in my other best of video, let me mention another thing. The designer Samilaxo added an encounter I am part of. So you can actually find Sir Thekos somewhere in the game. As of now, I still haven't found that encounter, but I will not give up looking for it. This game is truly amazing. My rank 2 is Aeon's End, a cooperative deck builder with an incredible amount of variety depending on how many of the waves and expansions you own. This game plays really well with other players, but it also has an excellent solo mode that is pretty much just the regular mode with minimal changes. You can play true solo, but also with more than one character. Although there are different heroes and a lot of different artifacts, spells and crystals, they are not necessarily the main draw. The main attraction are the different opponents that require varied strategies to be defeated. And yes, they can be really tough to beat, but it's really satisfying when you do. What a great game. My number 1 solo game is Warp's Edge. This is a pure solo game where you are on a mission to defeat a mothership with your own spaceship while also trying to deal with waves of enemies. So far, so good. Why this game really shines is its progression every game. This is a bag builder where you receive tokens for defeating enemies. Over time you become more powerful, but you also need to manage your health, your tokens and defeat the mothership before the end of the 3rd round. This game is really tough to win but a lot of fun. It is really unique and has a lot of variety with the different motherships, spaceships and enemies. This is a real gem, a game that will probably never leave my collection. Congratulations, you made it to the very end of my list of my most favorite solo games of all time, as of 2022. Again, this list might change next year when I will revisit and re-evaluate it. Also, I will play a lot more games new to me. But now I'm really excited to hear your opinion. What are currently your favorite solo experiences of all time? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to see what you enjoy playing. And please be civil while discussing your favorite games. Remember, this is a wonderful hobby and it's amazing that we get to share it with one another. Alright, thank you very much for watching if you're still doing so. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you let me know by liking and commenting. Also, why don't you check out the other videos on my channel. And if you want to keep up to date with my videos, just leave a subscription. And if you'd like to hang out with me and my community, I'd love to welcome you on my Discord server. Alright, I will see you over there. Take care everyone, and cheers.